Hello there, and welcome to Psychology in the Shed. It's a little different this week. As you see, we're going to be using a slide deck, and also we're sponsored. And we're sponsored by the Night Index, of which I am incredibly proud. It is an entirely scientific-based index that explores where a company is going really well and where maybe it can improve things. And it looks to benchmark at an organizational, departmental, even an individual level. And it works not just as a diagnostic, but as a prognosis as well. It'll show you what paths to take to improve in the future. Try it out. Right. This week, we're looking at probably the most misunderstood organizational variable that there is, which is productivity. Productivity is crucial. Everybody talks about it. When you ask people how they measure it, there are a whole number of different responses come back. And here's just a few for you. There's that one. There's this one. And perhaps the commonest way of measuring productivity is this one. We ask people how productive they were. That's entirely useless. It's misleading and it's dangerous because people have no idea how productive they are. It's a little bit like asking a marathon runner how fast they finished a marathon without giving them access to a stopwatch, or asking somebody to guess the weight of a ship without any idea of the displacement. Let me give you an example. What I will do quite often is I'll ask people in the room to raise their hand if they're a less than average driver. And maybe 1 in 6, 1 in 7 will put their hand up. I'll then say to people, okay, which of you is a less than average lover? And that usually is me and perhaps one other person. And then finally, I'll say, who of you here is less productive than your peers? And absolutely nobody puts their hand up for that. People have no idea how productive they are. They don't know where to start, they don't know how to compare. Asking them will give nothing but misleading data. So, how do you do it? Some companies, of course, will have hard productivity data. Let's look at a call center. In a call center, people are monitored to the nth degree in most cases. Their keystrokes are monitored, the websites they visit are monitored, even their lavatory breaks are monitored. And when it comes to being managed, they're managed by people walking about, they're managed by software, and they are targeted in terms of productivity in one of a few number of ways. One of the commonest is that they are monitored for productivity by how many calls they take in the course of a day. More calls, more productivity. So, and I am going to swear, so please forgive me here, the most productive way of taking a telephone call is to pick it up instantly, to tell the caller to fuck off, and to kill the call stone dead. No administration associated with that call at all. You can get through hundreds, if not thousands of calls a day. Isn't that a most wonderfully productive way of being in a call center? Call centers don't know how to measure productivity either. So how do we do it? Well, let me give you insight into how productivity can be measured. We worked with a team of auditors, a large company you'll have heard of, and we found that auditors have, unsurprisingly, a high degree of need to both understand information and to put it in a manageable order. So we gave people in this experiment a big pile of memos to sort through. They had to put them into date order and answer a quiz. And here are 4 questions from that quiz for you there. And you'll see that you can't really answer those questions from general knowledge. You need to know the answers. And we want people to do that task as quickly and as accurately as possible. We then found, of course, that auditors need to pay close attention to detail. So we gave them a magazine article and we said, would you please cross out every lowercase letter B that you come across? When you've done it, count up those letters B and we'll stop the clock. And in both cases, in the memorandum task and in the letters B task, we want people to be as fast and as accurate as possible. And those tasks were completed across 4 conditions. And these 4 conditions approximate to what goes on in business. The commonest business philosophy in the Western world is the lean office, and at its core is the clean desk and the principle of no distractions. Don't spend money on waste around the workplace, just get people to concentrate on the task. So Tim, as you'll see, is sitting in an unadorned office with a comfortable chair with a lovely big desk, doing the job, nothing to distract him. He should be massively productive. Secondly, we enrich the space, because you wouldn't put a zoo animal in that lean space. You wouldn't put a zoo animal in the lean space. Guy the gorilla, for example, when he arrived in London Zoo in the 1950s, sat in a stark concrete cage. What we do with zoo animals now is we enrich their spaces. So we enrich the office. And Pamela sits in an enriched space with plants and pictures around. We then treat Maya here in a very psychological way. And we say, well, why don't you empower yourself, Maya? This is your space. You tell us how you'd like it to look. You decorate it as you would like. And finally, in the disempowered space, we compromise that empowerment. Somebody decorates a space and then we take that authority back again and we override the design and do it ourselves. And that reflects Tom Peters when he talked about his self-directed teams, because he found that lots of self-directed teams weren't working. And that was because management was disliking the way that the teams were directing themselves, took back the power and ran the teams from the top, so to speak. So we wanted to try to reflect all the conditions that exist in the workplace and see which work best on the 4 tasks that you see. Our control condition was the lean condition, because that's the commonest one in business. And there, in this magnificently productive space, people took on average 40 minutes and 30 seconds to complete the tasks concerned. When we enriched that space, we treated people as though they were sort of animals to be looked after, shall we say, which is what high design tends to do when we enrich a space. They were 7 minutes faster. So when design houses, Google, Microsoft and so forth, install really nice offices for their staff and say it improves productivity, they have a point. But we also went beyond that and said, let people design their own space. And they performed 32% faster, with a fall back towards the lean score when you took that power away. Now, it stands to reason, of course, that if you're working 32% faster, you're going to make more mistakes. So what do you want? Do you want the steady Eddie, careful Carol approach, where you're taking a long time over stuff, but you're not making that many errors? Or will you accept the errors because people are working so much quicker? So it's important that we measured the errors. We did. And we found that as people were working 32% faster, they were making fewer mistakes. And across 20 years of research, lean has always, stress always, been the worst condition. The empowered condition has always been the best condition, and never have errors gone up between the two. So we can conclude that enrichment increases productivity. Designers, Google, Apple, all of these organizations that try their hardest to make spaces more interesting are right. It does increase productivity. But by letting people design their own spaces, by empowering people both in the job and in the design, increases productivity still further. And there's no decrement in errors when that happens. So there you go. There's productivity for you. And hopefully that's helped to explain how it should be measured. If I can help, I am always happy to do so on this or on anything else. So throw something at me, give me a call, drop me a line on LinkedIn, send me an email, whatever. Be a pleasure to talk. And yeah, I hope we speak soon. Thank you very much for watching this. It's appreciated, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye for now.